Radio podcast, and we are back, Matt. And we were actually in studio together. Well, the studio is the corner of my house.
Yeah.
But after living through a hurricane, which was
pretty. I mean, it was a Category 1, but
Category 1, but it still caused a clusterfuck of a mess.
Yeah.
People without power. Most of the city. And the surrounding areas, and people losing food and refrigerators going out, and in the summer Texas heat, not a lot of fun, really.
No. Which is one of the hottest months too.
Yes, which is why we did not have a new episode last week because I had no power, so it's kind of hard to watch a movie or record when you don't have power. So we just decided to take a unplanned break and come back strong today, as strong as we can be.
Rehydrated and cooled off from AC.
It man, and it sucked, man, because the week that happened, man, I'm fighting. I don't know if it was a stomach bug or my medicine. I'm like, I can't stay off the toilet. I felt weak and tired, and it turned out actually I was a little anemic when I went to my doctor's visit.
Oh, okay, low
because
on iron.
I wasn't eating enough, and because I didn't feel good.
Yeah.
And so it was a miserable couple of weeks here in Texas for that hurricane, and but we're back. And we didn't let Hurricane Harvey kill the show, which it almost did. We're sure as fuck aren't a little Category 1 hurricane barrel.
Exactly.
Because Harvey was like a 3 or 4? It was about a 3, I think.
It was a 4.
Was it that
a Category 4, but it wasn't as much wind. It was rain.
That, and I read, too, that this is only, out of all these hurricanes we've had in the last 20 years, this is only the third one that was considered a direct hit.
Yeah.
Alicia, Nicholas, I don't remember Nicholas. They said in 2001, and now this one. Like Harvey and Ike and all the other ones that fucked things up apparently weren't direct hits. They kind of went around and swerved. I'm like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
It's to me, a direct hit is when you're fucking shit up in the city. I don't know how they measure all that. We're not weathermen because we're weathermen.
I guess it's like whenever you play Battleship, it hits like the end, or it hits right in front of the battleship.
And you sunk the battleship.
And then this one's a direct hit, and you're like, you sunk me.
Yeah, man, but it's not fun, and hopefully we don't get another one of those. I mean, we did this twice in 6 weeks. People don't know. 6 weeks ago, there was a wave of tornadoes at Houston, and and that never happens in Houston, hardly ever, and cause a lot of damage and stuff. So it's just weird weather occurrences, and maybe Leonardo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt and those celebrities are right. Maybe it is some sort of global warming phenomenon, or maybe things are just different than they were 50 years ago. I don't know.
Maybe.
But it was wild, man. It was a wild couple of weeks there, but we're back. Gonna talk a movie today and some other stuff.
Some ScoJo.
We got This Month in Pop Culture History coming up in just a little bit, and as we continue our summer of blockbuster films. Just having some fun this summer with these movies as we trek onward from our 400th episode on past. And I wanted to say a couple things about the show that I always sometimes say these at the end of the show, and I don't know if people are still listening, but if you don't know, you can go to rebelradiopodcast.com. That's where you can find all our shows. And for people that don't know, I always forget this too. Our shows automatically uplink to YouTube.
Yes.
So, if you want to listen on YouTube or watch on YouTube, all our shows are available on YouTube as well. In fact, we have a couple in there. There are 2 raid movies that have done really well on YouTube, like 3,000 hits. I'm like, wow, these have done really well. So that's something people forget. Someone at work had asked me. I was like, oh, yeah, you can listen to us on YouTube. And, of course, on all the podcast apps and all that good stuff. And our 10th anniversary show, still playing strong. We had a lot of fun doing that, and we're real proud of that episode. And so if you haven't listened to it yet, and give you something to chime into during these summer months when you're not doing anything else except, picking your boogers and listening to podcasts.
Sitting in traffic, cleaning your house, put us on, We'll make it go by faster.
I mean, we have pretty fantastic, radio voices, I think, sometimes. I've been told that, so, I mean, I don't know. I've even been told as much that my voice is sexy, but,
Yeah.
And,
I heard about that.
And, I am single, lady, so, But,
I call you Mike Concho.
But, man, so I know you came out of the storm with no power also, but you came out all right in the end, too.
Yeah.
And,
I definitely, I got it worse the first time around when those twisters came. This time I was much more fortunate. I only lost power for about 36 to 40 hours. I was very lucky.
I mean, it wasn't all bad. I went and hung out at my mom's, and we survived.
At least you had somewhere to go. But I, like you, whenever the tornadoes hit, we were staying at someone else's home, and I, like you, had like stomach issues, and I went to go get tested, and they told me I had I donate plasma, and so they test your iron before. It's the first time I've ever been told that I had low iron, which is anemia.
So it's your fault, what you're telling me.
Yeah, it could, but that was like 2 months ago. Maybe it like stayed over here and like snuck around. And you finally got it or something. But yeah, man, it's old people problems. Testing your iron, stuff like that. It goes low.
Yeah.
It's definitely I wouldn't say I had become full on prepper for this, but it's like I definitely invested in a generator, and now
you'll never use it.
Yeah, I know. That one time.
And I will hold that against you. Like, Matt, 2 years from now, how's that generator doing? Oh, it's collecting dust.
Collecting dust. I had to figure out ways to use it. I put my son to work in the backyard power washing stuff. So I'm like, use the fuel in there.
Yeah, because you can't leave the fuel in there. It'll gel up and get nasty, yeah.
I literally filled it up because I was going to leave for work, and 20 minutes later, the power came on. It's like, man...
That's the way it works, man. And but man,
I'm glad you got power.
It sucked, man. Next week, Deadpool Wolverine comes out, and are you a little oversaturated by the marketing of this? And I get it. There's a joke in it about the marketing and all that, but it's just to the point where it's just like. It's taking, for me, it feels like it's taking a little of the excitement out of it. I'm like, okay, I've seen enough. We don't need more. And they released another trailer this week. I'm like, why?
It's like whenever you've already released, if you know what I mean, and they just keep trying to jerk you out. You're like, look, dude, I've already gone. You're just beating, dead meat, baby. I got reset. You got to do the Windows reset. And then come back up. But. I know, you talked to me and Long about this, and Long was like, just ignore it. And that's kind of like what I've been doing.
But it's hard to sometimes when it's everywhere.
As soon as I see it, I keep scrolling. I'm like, well, forget it. Nope. And then I got to pass it up. I don't see it on TV as much because I don't watch TV. I watch, streaming. So I haven't been catching it on TV, but social media, it's everywhere. It's like the new trailers come out. And you're scrolling on Facebook, it'll pop up. You're scrolling on Instagram, it may pop up, TikTok and all that. So I just try to ignore it and not pay attention to it because I'm like, all right, I don't want to get, like you said, oversaturated and just numb to it. I have high hopes for it, and part of me was like, man, I saw the 2 hour runtime, 2 hour and 8 minute runtime, and it bothered me at first, but now I'm like, you know what? That makes me feel better because if it was long, I feel like maybe they're trying to cram too much stuff in there.
Yeah, I mean, 2 hours, 8 minutes is pretty solid, man.
I think 2 hours and 8 minutes is fine. And it makes me feel like, okay, they're probably bringing some retro stuff back in regards to the Mutant franchise and Marvel franchise. But it makes me feel like they're going to be a little bit more concise with it and maybe utilize it a little bit better and make it not be so much like an Expendables movie or something like that where they just show up and it's like, oh, okay, cool, that guy's there, and then you just kind of move on. It looks like there's actually substance and some flair whenever these characters come back. So I'm excited right now.
We'll
trying
see.
To stay excited.
And we're going to stay with Marvel a minute. In the last 2 weeks since we got together, we got a trailer for Captain America: Brave New World.
I saw that.
I'm not. I was gonna say I'm super excited, but it looks cool. I'm always down for my boy Harrison Ford in the film, and he looks like he might get to turn in the Red Hulk from the looks of it.
Did you see the Easter egg with Leslie Nielsen as the president on the wall?
Oh, really?
And
I thought that was just like a meme someone made. I didn't really.
Well, they're assuming it's Leslie Nielsen, and they're wondering if it's a Easter egg to I forget what parody. That is from one of his films where he has Harrison Ford as the president on the wall in a painting, and he's like a secretary.
Yeah.
So I thought that was fun.
Huh. No, I mean, it looked cool. I mean, I'm down for some Cap action. I mean, it's going to be different without Chris Evans in the role, but I think Anthony Mackie can, since we know Sam takes over.
Yes.
And, so we'll see how it goes. I mean, it's based on a comic book story. Somebody at work was asking me, well, why is he Captain America? I'm like, well, it's from the comics. He takes over for a while till Steve comes back, and
Yeah, it's like a 2016 comic or something like that.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed from the trailer is it reminds me heavily of Winter Soldier. Not saying it's a bad thing, but I'm watching it, and in Winter Soldier, Cap is back, and this one they're like, hey, we want you back. So Cap comes back. And he comes back, and he gets put back in action. There is an attempted assassination, right, on his superior, right, in Winter Soldier, which is Sam Jackson. And this one, it's Harrison Ford. It looks like there's an attempted assassination. There's a chase that ensues with the Winter Soldier. There's a chase that ensues with this assailant. And then there's a new suit. We get a new suit with Sam. It's darker. It's closer to, looks like the Civil War suit. And then he's like, oh, you can't trust your inner circle. And then same thing with Winter Soldier. Winter Soldier was like, oh, you can't trust your inner circle. So I think they're going to try and take the best aspects from one of the best Cap films, movies with Cap in it, and incorporate this into Sam Wilson's Captain America. That's what I see.
Yeah.
Now, is that intentional? I don't think so. Are they going to add to it? I think so, because we see stuff from we see the cadaver from Eternals in this film. So
yeah,
I'm excited for it.
Oh yeah, I hope so.
It's not a knock on it. I'm just like, okay, they're going to take what was successful and use it.
In a couple weeks, we'll know. Marvel. It seems like Marvel's going to be at San Diego Comic-Con next week, and I honestly feel like from things I've read and rumors that we're getting a completely new plan for Phase 5.
Okay.
From the one that was shown a couple years ago. We know the Blade film's falling apart. We know Fantastic Four is fixing to go into production. Now the rumors are the Russo brothers might be back for Avengers 5 and 6, which I think is a fantastic idea. There's rumors of them announcing a Young Avengers movie. There's rumors of a new, obviously, we expect a new Spider-Man film to be announced. But I'm starting to think that's the right direction to go. Let's right this ship. Let's bring back the stuff people want to see.
Exactly.
Bring the Young Avengers in. Bring Spider-Man back. Fantastic Four. I mean, I love the idea of Mahershala Ali as Blade, but do we need a Blade movie in this universe? You can just put Blade into a movie. I don't feel like you need a film.
Yeah, do it like a la the Batman.
Yeah. There's been rumors of a possible Vision movie or TV show that's going to be announced. I think that could work. So we don't know what happened to Vision after WandaVision.
Yeah.
So I think you need to go back with the stuff that was working, that was popular, and get things back on track. Because Deadpool and Wolverine is everyone's saying, oh, it's going to get the MCU back on track. My thinking with that is how, because it's just one film. Really it's the next wave. We got to see how Captain America does, how Thunderbolts does. There's a lot of talk that the Thunderbolts trailer will be out at Comic-Con.
Yeah, context matters. Do they mean it's gonna right the ship in that
one film?
Oh wow, this is a really good Marvel film.
Because people keep forgetting, Spider-Man: No Way Home was really good. Not everything's been terrible since Endgame. Spider-Man: No Way Home was good. Falcon and Winter Soldier was a decent show. The Marvels was Doctor Strange was There's been some hit or miss, but it hasn't been terrible. But I think you do need to go with those. You need a Spider-Man film. You need the Fantastic Four to be good. Maybe you need to announce a Young Avengers film. Maybe that's the way. And the Russo brothers coming back, that alone. We know they're going to get rid of Kang. It's already been hinted at.
Yeah.
I think the reason this Fantastic Four movie was reworked, if it is a period piece, they're going to introduce Galactus in the 1960s, and I think we're going to flash forward. I think it just makes the most sense to go with Galactus as the next big bad guy for the next Avengers film.
Because he's big, dude.
Yeah.
And, there's something that, our dads, always say. If you like to work on your car a lot and you just like to do shit to it like I do, it's running fine, and then you do something to it, and then now, you mess something up. And your dad says, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
That's it.
All right? They tried to fix something that wasn't broke somewhere down the line, and now, they're going to put it back together, baby.
Yeah.
That's what this news kind of hints at to me.
They're sitting there, they're watching the news. They know what James Gunn's doing over there at DC, getting ready to unleash what's hopefully a fantastic universe with Superman.
Hopefully.
And and the animated shows they have coming and things, so Marvel's like, we got some real competition now. We know how James Gunn works, so we got to step it up. So we'll see. So I just wanted to go to that little bit of news this week, some Marvel news over the last couple of weeks since we were out. But man, as far as watching stuff since we've been out with not having power stuff, I'm not gonna lie, I haven't watched much. But I have dived deeply into NCAA football, college football 25. It's back after 10 years. There's been no college football games out in the video game systems for 10 years because of controversies over using players' likenesses, players' names. So they settled all that. And this game launched this week, and man, it's a beauty. That's it's a lot of fun. It feels like you're playing in live college stadiums in a college football atmosphere, and that has consumed my time since that game came out on Monday this week. I've just been playing the shit out of it, really enjoying it.
That's good.
And the week before that, I didn't have no power. I was at my mom's. So, I watched some stuff, but nothing new. Like, I think one night we watched The Dark Knight. One night we watched Friday Night Lights. Just kind of random movies while I was hanging out at my mom's house. Nothing new to watch. I still haven't gotten on The Boys season 4. I'm kind of on that little lull right now, though, with TV. I'm like, the Acolyte's just not been good. It's kind of taken out of me. But I will eventually sit down and get into The Boys because I know the season finale came out this week, and I got to get into it. I have been, talking about spoilers like Deadpool, Wolverine. I've done good with The Boys. I haven't really read anything, so I've been pretty safe with that. But that's really, man, all I've done. NCAA football, man, college football 25 this past week. I've been hardcore into it.
Yeah, no, I did get to watch the last couple episodes of The Boys, and I feel like it definitely righted itself right at the end. The last 3 episodes or so, I would even go as far to say the last half of the season really stepped it up, and I've enjoyed it, and I'm excited to where season 5 is going to go. We got left in a really dark place. I felt like they took a page out of Empire Strikes Back and just kind of left us in a dark spot on a cliffhanger. And we don't know what's going to happen to these guys. And man, it's going to be a long wait until we get season 5. I think we're going to be counting the days and hoping we get a release date. But it was definitely a fun season overall. Each season's been good. This one started off a little weaker than the rest, but it definitely made itself up at the end. I watched some of The Acolyte, but I saw some spoilers and stuff, and I don't know. I just feel like it's not. I don't know. It's leaving a bad taste in my mouth. I feel like these Jedi should be like at the height of like Jedi-ness, and they feel like they're not. I feel like they're not acting like Jedi to me. And then. I saw that they have Yoda there, and Yoda's just like doesn't know. How does Yoda not know some of the stuff is going on? And there's just he's leaving one person in charge, and doesn't know what they're doing. I feel like that doesn't make sense. Like Yoda would know.
Like Soul not knowing the twins switch place. I'm never like, what?
Exactly.
Jedi sense that kind of stuff. Yeah, there's so many problems with that show.
Especially whenever and that's why. People who are not Star Wars fans or know nothing about Star Wars should not write and star in Star Wars movies. At least in like big roles. Maybe in smaller roles it works, but it's like and I said it. Unfortunately, I caught that interview where one of the actors was like, "Yeah, my favorite part was whenever Anakin blew up the Death Star," and I'm like, "Oh no." I was like, no, no, this isn't. I think this is going to go sideways. But, yeah, hopefully we don't get a season 2. Hopefully they're like, you know what, let's, find what worked and what has worked.
Well, if you do a season 2, you just have to improve on it. The ratings apparently have been on it pretty good. So, but the ratings of Obi-Wan were great, and we only got one season. But at the same time, Obi-Wan didn't need a second season.
Yeah.
I know Ewan McGregor kind of played it up in interviews, but that's just Ewan, selling it to the crowd. I think even Ewan in his heart knows that he didn't need more than one season of, the Obi-Wan show.
Exactly. And because it's like you couldn't have him meet Vader again.
No.
It's like, I felt like this one time meeting Vader, great, but it's like, what would you do? Adventures with Luke,
right.
And him growing up. It's like, I don't think...
Let me teach you about puberty, Luke.
Exactly. Like, first, you raise your lightsaber and make sure it's extended, and then you use the Force. I don't know. But, yeah, no, I just... maybe it could work, but I just don't think it would be... You would have to write it really, really well. Like, maybe he gets, caught up with sand people... Maybe he does a pod race or something. That would be kind of cool. I guess I would like to see that. But how would you make it interesting?
Right. Yeah. There's no need for it.
It'd be like a made-for-TV movie thing.
The thing is, like, you have this vast universe that we both enjoy and love.
Yeah.
And, like, give us... they're trying to reach too far, I think. Like, where's a show with bounty hunters and smugglers? Or a show about the Rogue Squadron or space? I mean... You don't need to go 100 years before Phantom Menace. There's so much material you can do that's right there in front of your face, and I think they're reaching too far. And I just wanted to go back to having a better focus. And let's just, maybe after the Mandalorian stuff is done, let's just go back to a movie every couple of years and keep it special.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm at with Star Wars at this point, and and it's still my favorite franchise of all time, and always will be. But right now, it's kind of in a droll.
It's tough, It's definitely that in sickness and in health vow that you make.
It was so promising last year after Ahsoka,
Yeah.
And it just took a deep dive fast.
Yeah, it's definitely that part of the vow where it's in sickness,
Yeah.
Where you're like, okay, I vow to love you forever and always, Star Wars, in sickness and in health. That you're definitely in sickness, and hopefully you get out of it.
That's for damn sure.
Where's Ryan Johnson when you need him?
Right?
For real.
Yeah,
Yeah.
To be fair, one day, speaking when I was at my mom's during the power outage, Last Jedi was on TNT.
Oh, yeah?
And I just turned it on for a little bit. We were getting dinner ready and stuff. And, man, the cinematography in that movie is amazing. It might be the absolute best-looking Star Wars movie ever. And I just... The whole thing at the end where Luke projects himself to Kylo and all that, man, I think that's some good shit.
Yes.
It might be some of the best drama of the fucking sequels. Man, that stuff is awesome. And I get how the movie missed its mark to some people, but, man, I really think The Last Jedi is a movie that might be looked upon differently years from now.
Yeah. And Mark Hamill kind of fueled that fire, too.
Oh, yeah.
With his interview, and he's like... This was not my Luke Skywalker. He's like, I had to pretend that this was some alternate dimension Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
He's like, because even I told Ryan Johnson, this is not Luke.
Right.
And he's like, yes, it is. This is the new Luke.
It's fine. It is what it is.
But
even Mark Hamill had his expectations that, look, dude, you don't write this stuff,
Yeah. And he took a risk, He took a risk. And I think he just went too far with it. I thought he would be more like... Sir Alec Guinness, like he's just, a hermit, but not like a grumpy hermit. Like, he's in hiding, but then he's like, oh man, you know what? Okay, I guess I've got to come back.
Oh, I kind of like Grumpy Luke.
You like Grumpy Luke?
Yeah.
You like the milk drinking Luke?
He was thirsty.
He was thirsty. That part was damn funny.
All right, well... Hopefully Star Wars will write its ship, too.
Yeah.
Let's get into today's featured film, right?
Yeah.
As we continue our summer of blockbuster films. And we, people say this might not be a blockbuster. Actually, this movie did very well worldwide.
Really,
almost,
really well.
Almost 500 million worldwide?
Yeah.
Pretty good hit.
Made its money. It made more than its budget back.
It only did like
120,
140 in the U.S., but it did really well internationally.
Yes.
And I think that has a lot to do with Scarlett Johansson being a big star at the time. Luc Besson... as a director, is very popular overseas.
Fifth Element, it's a French film, for those who don't
know. And we're talking the sci-fi action film Lucy.
Yes.
Starring Scarlett Johansson. And this movie is interesting. When I first saw it, I was like, I liked it, but I was also like, what did I just watch? Because it's only an hour and a half, and there's a lot going on in an hour and a half. Like, especially in the last 40 minutes of the movie, it just starts popping.
It's like, we're in a school zone, and then all of a sudden they step on the gas.
And so you have to really kind of, it's not an overly complicated story, but it deals with complicated concepts.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially she...
pseudoscience.
She is talked into by her boyfriend to smuggle something for her. She doesn't even know what it is. And it turns out that she gets basically kidnapped by these Asian criminals. And they put these drugs inside her. They want to smuggle these drugs through people.
Yep.
And it turns out this drug is is given to pregnant women, right, or something like that. What does the drug do again?
Well, it's a new drug. It's a
new drug.
Yeah, and they give it to a junkie, and the junkie just, you can't even tell what it does.
Right.
They just kill him, and then they're like, yeah, this is going to be the hottest new thing, and she ends up getting kicked in the stomach,
and it absorbs into her body, and she develops. Her mind starts. It's based on the science that we only use 10% of our minds. And so this drug kicks in, and her mind just starts expanding. It goes to 20%, to 30%, eventually to 100% by the end of the film, where she's able to use all of her mind and develop basically superpowers. She can
use the Force,
use telepathy. She can read people, convince people to do what she wants them to do. She's suddenly a master fighter with guns and weapons and all this other stuff.
She recalls everything from her memory.
Yeah,
up
she
until
remembers
childbirth.
being born and all that, and all of the meanwhile looking super sexy like Scarlett Johansson does.
Yeah.
So, and it all leads to her. The weird thing about it is it's all about her getting revenge with these people that did it for her. And my first thought on that was like, if you had all these superpowers, no, you're not going to probably go for revenge. I thought that was kind of strange.
And you wouldn't use guns.
Yeah. I was like,
why do you need guns?
So I guess they did that to keep the story focused. And it blows my mind that Luc Besson said this movie took almost 12 years to get the script right, get it made. I'm like, it took you 12 years to write this? I'm like, I'm not to knock Luc Besson because I'm not a screenwriter, but I'm like, this isn't that fancy of a story, dude.
Maybe he just tweaked it a bunch. He loves his girls and guns.
Yes.
Luc Besson loves it. I mean, Fifth Element, Mila Jovovich,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Valerian.
I
mean, you could even argue The Professional with Natalie Portman as a young assassin.
Yeah.
So yeah, what was I saying? So this movie to me is first off, if you had these powers, you wouldn't even care about revenge on these people, and then you use this cop to help you get in. You don't need all that at this point.
Exactly.
I was like, it's just plot devices that don't make any sense. She's a freaking fucking badass. She can just walk in and do whatever she wants.
Yeah.
At this point,
she's like, "Can you guys hold them off? I need to concentrate."
I know, right?
It's like you can use 100% of your mind. Why do you need to concentrate?
But essentially, her mind developing that is also killing her, because she learns that when your mind gets that strong, you can basically become one with. You become an atom again. Your body's going to start separating itself, and you turn back into atoms. It basically is what occurs. But by the time she gets to the end of the film, she gets her revenge. She meets Morgan Freeman, scientist doctor, who's just also sort of there to drive the plot. There's no really any purpose in being in the film.
Yeah.
And but she finds a way to instead of basically dying, she basically turns herself into a living computer. It's all over the world at the end of the film.
Yes.
So she does die, but her essence lives on in a living computer. As she
That's not what I took away. I took away her clothes came off, and there's a naked Scarlett Johansson floating around somewhere out there. And Morgan Freeman doesn't even try to look for this version of Scarlett Johansson, which makes me, question the legitimacy of the writers of this film, because that's what I would do if I were him.
100%, absolutely. And, so, to me, that's the basic plot of this film. She develops her mind, becomes a living computer, gets revenge. This, we've done these kind of movies a lot, Matt, where this falls under that category of like,
it's a
really cool fucking concept,
yeah,
but doesn't quite reach what it should reach.
Yeah. There's some things that just don't click, and then there's some cheesy aspects to it, like using the animals randomly in the film, the cheetah and the the antelope, and likewise examples to portray parts of the story. But it's like, you didn't really need it, but you know what? It's entertaining.
Mm-hmm. I did like it better watching it the second time than the first time I watched it.
Yeah, the first time I feel like, you think it's going to be something that it's not, because the trailer doesn't, hint at all at the ending.
Right.
Which is cool. But, you think it's just going to be Skojo shooting a bunch of dudes with guns.
Right.
And some of it is that. But yeah, there's some things that just throw you off. Like whenever she is unlocking her mind, when she first hits 20%, she like randomly calls her mom, and she's just like, "I remember the taste of your milk," and I'm like, "The fuck, like, what's happening right now?"
Yeah,
you know, and it's like the mom's just like, "Okay, honey, bye."
Then she goes and visits her friend, just sees a laptop, and her friend's telling her a story about how she's trying to get laid and all this. She's not even listening to her. Then she tells her friend, like, you need to get your liver checked. You're drinking too much or whatever, basically. It's just like, it's all a bunch of stuff in this film that doesn't really do anything to move the plot forward. And it doesn't add to the story.
Yeah.
And I feel like Luc Besson could have written this, because he's obviously a very capable writer and director.
Yeah.
It just feels like this could have been a little bit more epic, a little more complex than it is. But he chose, I guess, for budget reasons, he chose to restrain this and keep it as a simple, action revenge plot film, and keep out the sci-fi elements to the background a bit.
Maybe so. Some people were turned off because it, like we mentioned before, it's based on the pseudoscience of only being able to use 10% of your mind.
But that's what science fiction is. It's always based on pseudoscience. I mean, come on, people. There's no fucking starships. Star Trek ships do not work.
Exactly.
There's no Millennium Falcon.
It's a sci-fi. It's a sci-fi movie. So it's like, yes, in reality we only use 10% at a time.
Right.
And this film, Morgan Freeman's like, well, I guess you could control time, and just like going off the deep end. But it's like you said, it's a science fiction film. You've got to make it science fiction. And like you said, this movie did extremely well. It was the best French movie at the time. In the last 20 years, it made more than Fifth Element. It made more than any French film. And it made its budget back in the first 3 days that it was released. Made $42 million, budget of $40 million. So it already made a profit after just a weekend.
That's wild.
And then, continued to gross all the way up into almost $500 million.
Yeah.
So there was success. And part of that because she was in Marvel, a Marvel franchise.
And, this was at the peak of Marvel's popularity when this was out. Yeah.
So at this point, we had gotten Captain America: Winter Soldier, and I think we had gotten Civil War.
Well, when year did this come out?
Is it? I thought it was 2017 or 2015. I'll have to look, but I
2014. So I mean, you're talking
Winter Soldier.
Yeah,
she had done Winter Soldier, and she was really good in that film. You got to see more of her in that film, and of course, you had seen some cool stuff from her in Avengers and Iron Man 2.
Yeah.
So she was on the up and up. And I think this is like, but she did Fly Me to the Moon. Fly Me to the Moon recently. And she didn't have the same reaction. I think she's, better used in this concept. I think in an action sequence. I think they wanted Mila Jovovich, but she was pregnant. So they went with ScarJo. And ScarJo can definitely do a Mila-esque performance. You could definitely use her as an action star, and she was really good in this film.
Oh yeah,
I like her. She nails her lines. Feel like her delivery is really good. She sounds like a computer, which is what she jumps into later on. But yeah, the crime, the Asian crime unit. Is definitely weird. The dude just like kills people, and then I think he eats afterwards or drinks.
Yeah, he eats or drinks.
And I'm like, you didn't try and test it for blood, It's like, I don't know. And then you think she's gonna like blow up. I like the.
Or like when she lifts the dudes in the hospital room, I'm thinking like she's gonna like blow them all up. It's like I'm thinking we're gonna get like an Akira like scene, and she's just gonna.
Yeah.
But then nothing happens. I was like, come on. Because I was reading that Luc Besson was inspired by animes, Inception, and a couple other films while making this movie. And I could see the Inception thing with the scene where they lift everybody up in the room. And, I think this is a cool movie. It has some cool moments. It is entertaining.
Yeah.
Like you said, I think the biggest issue with it is that there's a lot of contrived plot devices. You don't need the police officer in there. You don't like, why is she call her mom?
Yeah, the cop doesn't make any sense.
She's suddenly traveling everywhere. She's wanted, but yet she jumps to another country, then jumps to another country. It's like, wait a minute, they're looking for you in Taiwan, and now you're on the radar. They're not. How are you getting through these airports? It's like there's stuff that doesn't make sense in the film.
Exactly. And then she's in like, I know she's in like an East Asia country in the beginning, and she's like, oh, I've got class.
Well, she's in Taiwan.
Yeah. And it's like, why is she taking classes in Taiwan?
Well, I mean, that could not be uncommon, that American student. But, then all of a sudden she goes to, what, England or whatever, or France, right? Yeah. With the French cop. Then she's in America with Morgan Freeman. It's like, wait a minute, you just fly all over the place.
Exactly.
But I guess at the time she goes see Morgan Freeman's doctor, at that point she can control her mind so she can make the flight attendant. So you have to make a lot of assumptions that she can just cheat her way on board, and then she can change her hair and disguise herself, with her superpowers.
Yes.
So interesting concepts in this film, with a lot of cool ideas, and it's well shot. Luc Besson's never been a bad director as far as the way he shoots a film. I mean, obviously, I think The Fifth Element's still probably the best thing. And people might argue The Professional is his best film, but I don't know. I really like The Fifth Element.
Same here.
Much
more iconic.
But I remember when I heard that Luc Besson was directing Scarlett Johansson, a new sci-fi film, I had high hopes for this. And then when I saw it, I was like, oh, that's what we got? I was like, it could have been a lot better. Because there's a lot of really cool ideas in this film. I was trying to think of something we did recently that kind of very similar. You get these films where these ideas are just incredible. Like, we didn't cover this film, but like last year, that the Adam Driver movie with dinosaurs, 65.
Oh, yeah.
Such a cool-ass concept, but it never goes anywhere.
Yeah.
And Lucy goes a little more places than that did. But it's just one of those films with a really cool concept, but it works as being highly entertaining for an hour and a half, but it doesn't work because you can sit here and think like, well, why did this happen? Why this happen? Why this happened? You can pick this movie apart very easily.
Yeah.
But Scarlett was a big star at the time. The Marvel films were all over the place, hitting big, and they cast her and it did well. It made was it Warner Brothers, I think, did this film? Made them some money.
Yeah, I think Warner Brothers. On this film, I think I bought it and didn't go to theaters to see it. I wanted to go see it in theaters, but ended up just buying it and watching it at home.
Well, I think I found it similar deal. It was around the time after it came out. It was a Black Friday deal for like $6 on Blu-ray. I was like, I haven't seen it, so I bought it and watched it. And that's the first time I'd seen it. I don't know if we were doing what we watched, download this back then. I might have talked about it back then when I watched it. Who knows?
Maybe
so. Well, no, 2014, we
were just getting our start.
Yeah, we were just starting. We weren't quite doing what we've watched lately kind of stuff yet. So who knows? But Lucy, not a bad movie. It's on Netflix till the end of July right now. I actually watched it on Netflix. It was just easier than putting the Blu-ray in.
Oh, okay.
And so if you want to check it out, check it out. All right. Well, are we ready to do some this month in pop culture history for the month of July, which we were going to do, and then the power went out. We had no episode, and we're like, well, let's do it this week, which is the episode we would have done last week.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Absolutely, man. So this month, in pop culture history, actually this is for the 1st of July, 1991, Terminator 2, Judgment Day, directed by James Cameron, starring, of course, Arnold, the Terminator himself, premieres, and one of the best sequels ever made.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about Terminator 2 a lot on this podcast. I mean, when we do top fives of movies, it generally comes up on your list most of the time.
Most of the time, yeah.
And I mean, I like it too. I mean, don't get me wrong. Even doesn't show up in my top fives. I still think it's a great movie. I really like the expanded edition better with all the added stuff in it.
Oh yeah. Battle Across Time too.
I do think that it's I do think that it's a fantastic story, fantastic film. I do feel sometimes some of the action sequences are a little 1991-ish now compared to what we have now, but they still work, for what the special effects abilities they had back then. T-1000 still looks amazing for back then. All-time classic.
So I like to throw in random stuff in there, and this just because I watch this show with the wife fairly often, and that's Criminal Minds. In 2014, Same time this movie that we just talked about came out, Jennifer Love Hewitt joined the cast of CBS series Criminal Minds. And I always liked Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Why is that, Matt?
Yeah. Just for the same reason that Neve Campbell, described her in Scream whenever we did Scream. Busty brunette bimbo.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? She was cool having on Criminal Minds. I like that show.
No comment on that show because I don't watch those kind of shows.
Going to a Zemeckis film, 1985, Back to the Future this month. Came out, starring, of course, Michael J. Fox, and Christopher Lloyd.
Almost starred, was it Eric Holtz? Well, no. Was it Eric Holtz?
Eric Stantz?
Eric Holtz, yeah.
Eric Holtz, yeah.
Man, that movie's going to be 50 years or 40 years old next year. Wow. And that just means we're getting old.
For real.
We just did Back to the Future Part 2 a few weeks ago before Compalooza. And, we covered the original a couple years back. And, it's a very beloved franchise. I've talked about before. Not one of my favorite franchises. I do appreciate Back to the Future. I enjoy it. It's not in my probably not in my top 10 franchises for me personally. But I completely understand the appeal. I understand their classics, and I appreciate them for what they are.
Yeah, dude. Doing another Zemeckis film, 1994, Forrest Gump, released, and that's very, very fun movie too. Another.
Oh yeah. Oscar winner for Best Picture.
Yeah.
Oscar winner for Best Actor for Tom Hanks. Amazing movie. It's one of those timeless classics. You can show Forrest Gump 100 years from now, and people will understand what it is, and they'll appreciate it if they still are teaching history 100 years from now about what happened in the 1950s and 60s and 70s in our country. But man, I remember seeing that movie, and I think I went with my parents, and I was like, man, I don't want to watch Forrest Gump, man. And then I remember walking out and going, man, that was a great movie, And
my parents bought it on VHS, and I watched it at home.
Yeah.
And I never, what's funny, I was little whenever I saw it, and for the longest time, I never took away from it that Forrest was slow. I just thought he talked very Southern because I watched it whenever I was little.
Right.
So that perception just stayed with me. I watched it once. That perception of Forrest stayed with me, and I remember us talking about it one time, and you're like, you didn't know Forrest was like slow? And I was like, no, I didn't. And you're like, it's like, well, how did you miss it? And so it's like, of course you watch it as an adult and you catch it, but
that's funny.
Kind of like how Commando ruined my perception of Arnold.
When you found out the log was fake.
When I found out the log was fake,
it's like, dang, he's not that strong.
Because that perception at that age just stayed with me. So my interpretation of what Arnold was able to do was impacted by my imagination as a child, and just seeing that movie and taking it for more than what it was, and then finding out it was fake. I was like, oh, this is bullshit.
Fair enough.
So our buddy Long, he likes for some reason, no, he doesn't like Ringo Starr. I was thinking of you two. But I saw this and thought it was funny. In 2023, NASA beams Ringo Starr's voice, wishing peace and love across the universe via Deep Space Network to honor his 83rd birthday.
Good Lord.
And I was just like, well, wasn't there like a movie where we shot music into space and the aliens understood it and then they came to Earth? I know I saw a movie like that.
It might have been, but
there's so many alien movies.
Some alien light years from here are going to get Ringo's voice and go, "What the fuck is this shit?"
I know. This is an act of war.
I think we need to go destroy these motherfuckers.
Exactly.
Peace and sunshine. What the hell is that shit?
We get invaded. 1981. Go back a little bit. Nintendo releases arcade game Donkey Kong, created by Shigeru Miyamoto in Japan.
People forget that Nintendo started as just a video game maker before they made consoles and became a huge company. And they did arcade games.
Yeah.
Donkey Kong, Mario Brothers. It wasn't Super Mario Brothers. It was just Mario Brothers. And the rest is history, of course. I mean, Donkey Kong appeared in the Mario Brothers movie last year. Mario Brothers had a movie with a sequel on the way. One of the absolute most popular brands of all time, Nintendo and Mario and Donkey Kong.
Mm-hmm. Going into wrestling, because why not? 1994, Hulk Hogan beats Ric Flair to win WCW Wrestling Championship.
Yeah, that was when Monday Night Wars were beginning between WCW and WWE.
Yeah.
Of course, a few years later, Vince McMahon would buy WCW and buy ECW and own it all. And he came out on Raw and basically was like, "Fuck y'all! I own it all. You can't stop me." and but it all started around that time because WWE was struggling to hang on to stars, and Flair left, Hogan left, Kevin Nash left. They formed all the NWO stuff over there. And the Monday Night Wars were on, and of course the WWE got Stone Cold, The Rock.
Yep.
They started getting big stars, and they were clashing in the ratings every Monday night for several years there.
A little bit of sports. I know, Mark, you like baseball. You probably remember this. 1990, Roseanne Barr sings the national anthem at Cincinnati Reds and San Diego Padres MLB game.
Yes, and she's grabbed her crotch and spit, and was considered the worst national anthem until this past week at the All-Star game this past week with Ingrid, whatever her name was.
Yes.
Was drunk. And it was funny, I watched it. I didn't watch the All-Star game because I just, there weren't very many Astros in it. But I watched her rendition on online or whatever. And it starts out, I'm like, well, this isn't that bad. And then she gets about halfway through the song, and then I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, she starts getting
getting
upper
bad.
register.
And at least she admitted her wrong. She said, I was drinking, and she apologized. And it doesn't change it, though. She still did it. And but at least she did the right thing. Like, I don't know if Roseanne Barr ever apologized back then.
Yeah, I don't know either. But I know, like, Tom Arnold, they wanted him off True Lies at the time.
Yeah.
And Arnold was like, hell no, you're not taking him off.
Yeah.
He stood up for him.
Wasn't his fault.
Yeah, it wasn't him. It wasn't his fault. They're like, you're porking her. Why didn't you know?
Oh, Lord. There's the image. Tom Arnold, Roseanne Barr.
I know, right? And then lastly, I know you're a big fan of this one. 2004, Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle, starring Kal Penn and John Cho.
Oh, yes. The one movie I really enjoyed when y'all made me do that fucking comedy month. And that was the best one of the whole month, honestly. I mean, I love that movie. It's fun. It's funny. All three of those movies they did were funny.
It's definitely, in the true vein of one of those 2000s raunchy comedies.
Yep. No, man, those are fun movies. And they get more crazy as they go along. Like the very Harold and Kumar Christmas is just batshit bizarre and weird, but also funny.
Yeah.
Like, but they're fun movies. And I always wanted them to do another one. But, they're much older now, and I don't think it's ever going to happen. But we got 3 fun Harold and Kumar movies. So those are... Did they spin off something like maybe one of these comedy sketch shows? I wonder if they did. I'd have to look that up. I don't know too much about where they came from. Or maybe it was just something they created. Who knows?
Could have been.
Because isn't Kal Penn? He's like a script writer now and stuff, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but good stuff, man. Good stuff. Because I threw you on the fly. We literally came up with that right here at the computer.
Yep.
All right. Well,
Ridley Scott and Gladiator.
That's it. Next week, man, we are going to continue our summer of blockbuster movies as we move forward. And there's a little movie coming out next weekend called Deadpool and Wolverine. So we thought we would go back and cover the original film that started that got Deadpool onto the big screen for the first time, starring Ryan Reynolds, and that is Deadpool.
Yes.
I love you, Wade Wilson. We can fight this.
You're right. The cancer's only my liver, lungs, prostate, and brain. All things I can live without.
What if I told you we can make you better? You're a fighter. We can give you abilities most men only dream of. Make you a superhero.
You just promise you'll do right by me, so I can do right by someone else.
And please don't make the super suit green or animated.
One thing that never survives this place is a sense of humor.
We'll see about that, Posh Spice. Oh, come on. You gonna leave me all alone here with less angry Rosie O'Donnell?
Hey, yeah, I wanna shoot, baby.
Packed in your stack, especially in the back, brother. Wanna thank your mother for a butt like that. You're a shotgun bang. What's up with that thing? I wanna know, how does it hang? Mr. Motherfucker, like Prince said, you're a sassy mother.
Wait! You may be wondering why the red suit. Well, that's so bad guys can't see me bleed. This guy's got the right idea. He wore the brown pants. Cue the music.
It's gonna give it to you. you to get it. What the? X gon' deliver to you. Red with the enemy. No matter how many caps I break red when I break these enemy.
Reeks like old lady pants in here.
Why such a douche this morning?
Oh, God, you are hard to look at. You look like the topographical map of Utah. Exactly.
Down, like a freeze. But won't be the one ending up on the beat. It's the only thing you can't do. Came out to play, stay out.
I am very turned on right now.
Let's go give it to you. He gon' give it to you.
You are haunting. You look like an avocado had sex with an older avocado. Thank you.
This is a movie that I know you like a lot more than I do, and that's okay. I do like it. I don't love it. I think it's okay, and I'll watch it again this week, and we'll talk about it. And but I'm not a huge fan of either of the Deadpool films, and it's not Ryan Reynolds. I think he's great. I like the character. I just felt like the films could have been better. That's just my gist of it. But but we're going to discuss Deadpool next week as we get you people ready to go see Deadpool and Wolverine, and that's next week on this show. So it should be fun. It's been a while since I've watched Deadpool, so I think it'll be cool, and so it'll be a good one as we continue our summer of blockbuster films. And that's next week on the show. But until then, the RebelRadioPodcast.com for all your Rebel Radio needs. And, we thank you as always for listening. We do appreciate it. And again, 10th anniversary show still playing, so go listen to that. And until then, this has been Mark.
This has been Matt.
Remember, as always, just go there and do it.